All right, you're welcome back. Of course, it's talk time now on TVC Breakfast. As I said earlier, we're going to be looking at X-ray the restructuring going on in the NNPC. The new group managing director, a new group managing director, 4 new group executive directors, and the reduction of senior managers from 122 to now 83. Now, so much have been going on in the NNPC in the last few days. Managing Director EB Kachikwu says that the restructuring is to transform the corporation into an efficient, transparent, and business-minded national oil company. Now we're looking at how the NNPC can be repositioned to best shed its toga of corrupt institution and be an accountable firm. I have with me a former Public Relations Officer of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Sheyi Gambo, to help look at this. Good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Right. Of course, it's no longer news that so much has been happening. Yeah. In the NNPC, restructuring going on there, and some people have said it is a restructuring that has been long overdue. You agree?
Well, I don't know what happened with the former structure that we had in, it's neither here nor there for me. Anybody could work, any, firm, any structure could work. It depends on the people that are piloting it. So if, as the new GMD said, that they want a leaner, a more focused, leaner but focused NNPC, National Oil Company. Okay, so be it. I was trying to get the manpower of NNPC yesterday night. I couldn't. Whereas the contemporaries like Start Oil, Nance, Petronance, Petrobras, in there. When you go to their website, you can know how many staff they have. So I was not able to get that, and I was wondering that this is something at a click of a button you should be able to know how many staff, how many people are working in the NNPC. I was not able to get that yesterday. So the restructuring, I don't know what people expect.
All right. So if you say to you it's neither here nor there,
yes.
Have you been happy really with the way? The way things have been happening on the NNPC, there's topsy-turvy, movement there. No, from what we've been hearing from the news, nobody can say he has been happy. And I've also have close associates that want to have, there have not been transparency. We cannot say, we cannot hide from that. Because I've had people that want to have dealings with NNPC, that you have them documents on the street, and most of them are not genuine. That means that many people are exposed to fraud. Instead of you going to the website knowing that okay, you want to play in the crude oil, you want to buy this, you want to transact business with them. What you should be able to see, and the process, and the process is straightforward. You have to go you are not going to the black market to source for your information and to source for documents that will let you access it. So nobody has been happy with what we've been hearing, especially with the new the president telling us about among us corruption in the NNPC. But as I always said, that when you were talking about NNPC, it's a clique of people in NNPC. NNPC, the staffs of NNPC are just like basically people like you and I. How many people have access to such funds? How many people have access to to siphon? How many people have access to undermine the process? And you also know that of recent you notice that the GMD NNPC have been like on the apron string of the minister. So when you're looking at it, I have seen that in the last couple of years, there's always been like it's what the minister wants done, that is done. And we've had the last minister, she had about 4 GMDs. That's we're having an average of 1 GMD for 1 year.
You understand? So what kind of NNPC would you want to happen? Is it a, you know? So what is the issues that she was having with the GMDs? Those are the questions that we should ask. You know, we've had stories that when some GMDs have said that no, this is not right for us as a national oil company, you're fired. So are you blaming the NNPC guys or the politicians or the executives? So that's why I'm always saying that, look, when people, nobody wants corruption. Everybody wants to fight corruption, because if you fight corruption, we have a better and responsible government, you know, and people. But we should also be very wary of throwing the baby with the bad water. You know, I've always said that when you're talking of who are the people in the NNPC, we know where the corruption is happening in NNPC. So you cannot just give a blanket. You know, it's like saying that all cops are corrupt. Or, you know, all journalists are corrupt. You know, you cannot just. So I'm always careful when I choose my words, because you're talking of other people. You know, future people that have, you know, given service to this country. You know, I know. I mean, when you're talking of all this pipeline vandalization, some of NNPC, PPMC people have lost their lives. You know, it's like the front line. You know, so when their militants meet them, they kill. So you know, you don't understand what I'm saying. So people have the specific. All these things leaves paper trail.
Yeah, but if you say that NNPC staff, especially the top hierarchy, do not need to be, do not need to, you know, bear the blame all alone. Yes. Don't you think there's been, you know, some sort of collaboration?
No, definitely there'll be collaborations, you know, but who made the environment conducive for corrupt practices? You know, that's the question we should ask ourselves. If you have a minister or a president that knows his onions and say, this is what I want, and is not part of the corruption, you cannot have corruption in NNPC, although it will be minimal. There's no institution that is corrupt-free. Even in the churches and the mosques, you have corruption. So we are not talking of, you know, a public space.
So there's a way that the government of the day encouraged, you know, corruption.
Exactly.
In the institution.
Is the government of the day that encourage, or is the government of the day that give a template for corruption? You know, if 6 people are bidding for something and somebody says that, irrespective of what DPR or NNPC have said should be the yardstick, this person must get the job. That's where corruption starts. You know, so it will, you know, and you know, it's very hard. It's very few people that will see those kind of money moving and say no. You know, no, they will tell you that I didn't come to count bridges in Abuja, or I didn't come to count bridges in Lagos. Yeah. So those are one of the issues that we should look at. That if it's an holistic, our problem when you're talking of corruption being endemic, it's a Nigerian problem. It's not the problem of the police. It's not. There was a Transparency International did a survey. The Nigerian arm did a survey that NNPC staff are not paid commensurate to the job they are doing. People are not talking about that. It's the same thing like, what do you expect from a policeman that is not well compensated? It's garbage in, garbage out. You know, so if you're looking at restructuring NNPC, just basically moving people here and there. But I know now that all things being equal, the man that we have now seems to be set for business, seems to be, you know, made for this role. You know, he has played with the IOCs, he's now coming to government. He's a Nigerian, so you expect him to balance national interests and the, you know, IOC's interests. You know, it's not going to be just because he's a Nigerian. If he fails, he will be failing as a Nigerian. Absolutely. Because he's our ambassador, he's our man, he's our eyes there. So I think he's the best man for the moment, you know, that he can understand, appreciate where, I mean, for JV funding, we are, NNPC is doing about $5 billion arrears, you know, in a funding that you are meant to put your money. What have they been doing, you know, with their money? So it's somebody that will be able to talk to the IOCs if they need to be patient with us, so that all these portfolio flights, all these assets are flying away, everybody's running away from Nigeria because of the hostility of the environment will reduce. So, and if you look at the new GEDs that we have, you see that out of the 4, 3 are for NNPC. So it's not a matter of just, because I was reading something yesterday, like some people are calling like, what you call in English, Oreo cookie, that's a white man in black skin. Okay. You know, trying to label him that. And I said, no, if you look at, you know, some people are seeing him as an outsider. He's not an outsider, although he has not worked with a national oil company before. But he's not an outsider, he's a Nigerian.
This is his first government appointment.
Appointment, yes. And I mean, if you see him mentally, and I think he's just the right man for the job now.
And he has said that the restructuring essentially will be able to achieve, transparency, accountability in the system,
yes,
which were real ingredients that were missing in the institution.
Yes, as I said, no, is when a company is transparent, when you need information, and look at, like, when we are talking about payments of the minister's jet, for example, and you have to go. We have a what's it called? Information bill, and you cannot access it. The National Assembly called the minister. She ignored them. She ran to the courts. She was being seemingly shielded by the presidency. What are we talking about again? Is it the NNPC folks? You understand what I'm saying? And somebody say, okay, we are not renewing this lease of this plane. The person is fired. You understand what I'm saying? So, well, we're all to blame because Nigerians have been careless. It's a collective responsibility. We have not with one voice, the civil societies, the unions, the other institutions. We are not with one voice that this is the kind of NNPC we want. We've allowed, these people to have a field day, and we are complaining. We have not been aligned.
So, in other words, you're saying
Nigerians
haven't held people, responsible.
Exactly.
Accountable.
Accountable. Now we're talking about 2 million barrels of oil being, carted away illegally every day. Is that an NNPC? You understand what I'm saying? So it's a larger thing, but when things like this happen, everybody wants somebody to blame. But I'm very, very careful because I've also been in a situation in which people would not understand the dynamics at play, and they'll be blaming me for taking such decisions, or being slow, or being proactive, and things like that. So that's why I want to say, look, yes, there's a lot of a lot of shady things happening in NNPC. You understand? But government and people that know the kind of know the departments and where these things are happening from, and they can arrest it. And I think we should see what will happen at the end of the day. But the thing is that our problem in NNPC is transparency, and transparency.
Well, let's look at the man a little bit. Ibe Kachikwu, Harvard-trained lawyer who's been in the oil industry, of course, as vice chairman of ExxonMobil. So is someone who's got an avalanche of experience as far as the oil industry is concerned. In your opinion, what else do you think he will bring, to this job, as the new GMD?
Yes, well, the only advice I want to give a personality like this is that you hear so many things about so many people, about the institution you're working. And if I'm him, I'll be very careful of what I hear and how I react on the issues that I hear. Because if you go there like a cowboy, you want to shoot everybody down. I mean, you want to, this one is bad, anything NNPC, the old staff there, everything about them is bad. If you're going with that mindset, you're almost digging your grave, because they are the people that will tell you where to look. So I want him to have an open heart, I want him to, to listen to the guys that have been there. Because no matter how he's coming, he's still an outsider in the system.
Yeah.
No matter all the theories he has, he's still an outsider in the system. So he has to warm himself to the staff and let them know that he's not here to wish on to anybody, to let them know that, their jobs are safe with him.
Because it could be sabotaged.
Yes, it could be sabotaged. There's no man is an island. If you put President what's it called? If you put President Buhari there himself, if the people don't cooperate with him, he will fail.
Yeah.
So he has to warm up to the people. He has to show them that, look, I'm here. This NNPC is a Nigerian project. It's not President Buhari's project. It's a Nigerian project, and our economy, as it were, is at the brink of collapse. So we need all hands on deck. So you should not come in as if I know it all. People, especially outsiders, when they come into government, they have that head that, I know it all, I'm better than you guys, and this thing. Nobody's better than anybody, just privileges that we have. So what I expect from him is that, he should stoop to conquer. That's the best thing that can happen to him. He should, because it's not about him, it's about Nigeria. And anyway, they say that our people have a proverb that a man sees a snake, a woman kills it. It's for the snake to die. So no matter whoever is going to make sure that this snake of corruption dies now is what you should do.
All right, the president has, given him a 6-point agenda, some of which are to recover, stolen money from the institution, to clean up the NNPC, to fix the refineries, among others. how much of an easy job do you think this is, to him anyway?
I will tell you with someone that has sincerity of purpose, if you look at everything, it all boils down to transparency. And when you're talking about transparency, you're talking about corruption. Nearly all the 6 points you have said, why is the refineries, why are they not working? Why were they almost being sold at scrap at a time? It's all corruption. Why is it that a country of our status, we're importing almost 80% of what we use domestically? It's crazy. It's corruption. So all these things is, you should lead by example. When you lead by example, people see your body language. They say, this man does not take nonsense. He will not give a contract to people that do not have the capacity to do it, or people that will multiply, the multiplier effects. At the end of the day, the contract will be more expensive than if you have done it with Mr. B. As long as he leads by example, as long as he walks the talk, as long as he's sincere, everything. I mean, when NNPC does well, everybody enjoys. The man on the street enjoys. I mean, the crude oil that we're talking about is what God has used to bless us. So I don't see it. In some climes, it might be like it's a very tall order. Nigerian people are people that are so easy to manage. If you're a good leader, Nigerians are the best people to manage. They're almost like, it's almost robotic. But if you're a bad leader, you can see that the disingenuity of Nigerians will come out.
Yeah.
So I don't see any job in Nigeria, even being the president of Nigeria, as anything big. That someone should lose your sleep. Because for every facet of life, every field of life, you have decent Nigerians. I also believe that we have more decent Nigerians than the bad ones. It's just that badness is always amplified. Just like, when you travel abroad and it's like, Nigeria is a 419 country. And I wonder, I don't think I have a single friend that indulges in fraud. But when you go abroad, it's like, you know what I'm saying? They are forgetting the taxi man that found dollars and returned it, the lady that found dollars in the cleaner that found dollars in the plane and returned it.
The airport.
At the airport. So they are forgetting that. So that's why I'm saying that, look, we just, I wish him well. And the way he's going, I mean, the way he's talking tough, I pray that, he also walks the talk, so that we can get to the expected end.
All right, we hear he has invited, some of the oil traders on, a bit. I mean, to look at oil swaps, and all of that, in order to determine how compliant they have been. What do you make of that move?
Well, there's no iota of doubt that the oil swap have been abused grossly, and I think everybody can know that majority of them have not complied. Majority of them have done things that like anti-Nigeria, the economy of Nigeria. I guess it's just basically calling the boys that, look, let us stop all this nonsense. That this time you are going to, if this is what A, B, C, D, that's how you follow it. You don't jump, or the chain, the value chain. It's just calling the boys together and talking to them. These are people that I'm sure that he knows many of them on, first name basis. He just said, look, let us clean up our thing now. A new sheriff is in town who will not take nonsense. That's the president. Yeah. And we have to deliver. And at the end of the day, as I said, even those people that have undermined this country, is because they have noticed that many people are doing it. Our level of patriotism is different. Some of us will never do something because we feel that, this country belongs to not only us, but we are holding it, fought for our children, the next generation, the successor generation, But some people are ready to eat their future and that of their children, So, but I believe that many of us are not like that, So it's just to come and talk to the boys and say that, look, enough is enough. Now we are going to do
let's do things right.
Let's do things right, yes.
All right. Let's also look at, the, subsidy, issue. This is one, very critical issue. There have been, talks whether, President Muhammadu Buhari should, scrap it or not. And, put into consideration how, some of these oil dealers, have, held Nigerians, to ransom, what's your opinion on that, the oil subsidy?
No, you see, the thing is that just as I'm so happy that when the president was very sincere with Nigerians and said he was not removing the subsidy now, because they have not put in the right things in place for him to just remove the subsidy. If you just remove the subsidy as it is,
it will bounce on Nigerians.
It's the common man that will suffer. The common man, any increase in pump price, as you cannot quantify the vibration in the system, in the system, so it has to be a gradual removal. But the thing is that I always say that have a date, work towards a date. That at this date, we should have removed 50%. By this date, we should be exiting, the subsidy scheme. Because I've heard stories, I've heard players that have abused it, talk about it. And I've even heard somebody confessing that we are even happy that we had the subsidy strike, that they were happy that the civil society and Labour had the subsidy, because the way Nigeria was going, they were afraid that we will not be able to last long. So, it's something that is a monster that we found ourselves in, and it has held us tight. But I believe that we can navigate it together. We can navigate it together.
All right, more heads are still expectedly, still going to roll in the NNPC, and of course, absolutely, as we hear.
It's like I want to say that it seems you're flying on the wall. You're listening to us. All right.
So is essentially, corruption, yes. corruption. And you agree that certainly this can be achieved in terms of getting that monster out of that system.
Yeah, it can be achieved. And as I said, you don't expect that if the dragnet that have removed some people now, and tomorrow, due to investigations or due to paper trail, somebody that is still in the system has been found wanting, the person will go. We expect that you should not have any sacred cow. So it should be like an ongoing process. As you'll be weeding, as you see the weeds, you weed, and I think for once, government is very, very, very particular about the gills that lays the golden egg. We are very particular, and it's like somehow it's like God wants Nigeria to survive. Even this, assuming we didn't have the dip in oil price, assuming we have in government those that have been perpetuating this thing, because we are not feeling the pinch. What made Nigerians to stand up and say enough is enough is because things were getting very tough. Even to breathe air, it was, the oxygen was being like rationed. Yeah. So I think this is for a lesson for all of us, a kind of a bitter pill to make sure that we survive from a critical condition. I don't think Nigerians are innately corrupt people. I mean, when I look at at least my own close associates, I can tell you that, I'm always very finding it difficult to see corruption. Yeah. And where I expect corruption, I see it. When you see a policeman that is not well properly catered for, his salary is being delayed, what do you expect from him? And just like, people are not emphasizing, as we said, in the Transparency International thing about even the enormous, the salaries of the people working in NNPC. So I've told corruption is not a big deal if you have the right attitude, if we are sincere. I don't see any issue about
So people, in other words, should be in order to ensure that this is properly nipped in the bud. You are saying that if people are properly taken care of, yes, remunerated, yes, they will not have the urge to, you know, collaborate in terms of, you know, getting into corrupt practices?
A lot of people will be removed. People, when you know that when you exit somewhere like NNPC, you know, you can still live a certain decent life. You can still cater for your children's school fees. You can still travel once in a while. You can go for good medical checkup in the best of hospitals here. Because don't forget that some of, you know, NNPC is not just the towers. Some of the guys working in the refinery, they're exposed to, you know, very, very dangerous gas substances, you know. And as you age, the import of those substances you have inhaled will just start to manifest. So those are the things we are saying. But some people, as long as the executive arm, the top echelon are you know, doing all this kind of shady business, you just see them going along with it. That if the heaven is going to fall, after all, it will not be only me. It's going to fall on all of us. Yeah. So those are what I see.
All right, the president has ordered that they maintain treasury, you know, single accounts.
Yes.
You know,
which is the ideal thing.
And what do you think of that?
Is the ideal thing? Why should you have multiple accounts? You know, why can't you have just one and zero everything? I think that's the most ideal thing. That's the most decent thing to do. That's so everybody can know that this is when you have. But what do you need duplicity of or multiple accounts for? For what purpose does it add to the process? You understand? So I think that's the ideal thing. The president is on
so
course.
he's on the right track.
On the right track, yes. So all eyes will be on that one account.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, all eyes will be on the one account. I think he's on the right track.
And that will bring about probity, accountability, and transparency.
More transparency, yes, sir.
And you know that. Okay, and the president as well is not mincing words at all, saying that all those who have stolen, you know, the country's money will face justice. And of course, it would appear Nigerians, you know, go along with him in that direction, you know, saying, look, all of those people should be brought to justice.
Yeah.
To deter people from, you know, getting into those practices.
Yeah, I agree that most of us, that's what we want. You know, some people cannot have wrecked the ship, as it were, and they'll be going scot-free, whoever the level. But I'm saying that we are watching. It's not that tomorrow we find you know, things are trailed to somebody, and you are now saying that because the person is X that, it cannot be touched. Nobody has immunity now. Everybody should come the way they are. Whatever is on you, you come out. You as I say, you go with your father's name. You understand? And if you are cleared, you are cleared. I don't want Nigerians want blood, but I also like to emphasize process. We should not, because we want to get justice. It's not because we want to get back our money. We should now throw caution into the wind. Because if you maltreat people because and you short circuit the process of investigation, of arrest, you know, we are talking of laws that guide human interaction. If you undermine them, today is somebody, tomorrow it can be you. Yeah. And there's something that happens that you know, I've noticed that I know many people that the press have said, oh, this person is corrupt, and I know them one-on-one. And you found out that what they are talking about, there's nothing like corruption in it, or they are not even involved. You know, so that's the thing, that even in as much as we want justice, in as much as we want the money, let us make sure that our security agents, the anti-corruption agents, follow due process in achieving this. You know, it's better that way. And, you know, I don't want to see, you know, you just, like what happened during the Abacha era. All the banks, MDs were having problems. They had, some of them had to, you know, run away and everything. Whereas the biggest culprit of corrupt practices was one prosecuting other people. You understand what I'm saying? So it has to be something that is holistic, and it has to be we have to have a way that we can sustain it. It shouldn't start and end with Buhari's administration. You know, we should have a system in which, whenever there's corruption, there's a red flag that even outside it is, oh, there's something funny going on there, And when we find something going on, the person faces the music immediately.
And that's, I don't know if you listen to the news, I think the day before yesterday or so, when members of the Peace Committee, you know, went to visit President Buhari, and, you know, the Reverend Matthew Coker,
Bishop.
absolutely, Bishop Matthew Coker, you know, came out to tell the press that, yes, they agree with President Muhammadu Buhari, you know, on his fight, you know, against corruption, but that he has to do it, he has to follow, you know, due process.
Yeah.
Because it's not a military, it's not a military era.
I saw the interview. To that extent, I agree with the bishop, that this is, you know, follow due process, and that's what I said. But when he went further to now give like a caveat to the former president, and I started getting worried. You know, you have already said anybody, let's follow due process. Either minister, commissioner, gatesman, president, or ex-this or anything. Due process must be followed. But it's not at the same time as you're talking about that, you now be saying that, we know that this man, you're already isolating somebody. For me, I felt funny. But you know, when it comes to public speaking and when we don't know how you press people, just make people jittery at times. And say, but I was just not too happy that you should now give a caveat that we know this man has a such and such character, is you know, he has a good reputation and everything. Okay. No.
Okay, sorry. May I interrupt you? Let's take Jimo. Good morning to you, Jimo.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks. My brother out there is really saying the right thing. Actually, he's very honest with the whole situation. And what you are saying, the president has to be careful in judging people. I hope the president will be able that way, doing the right thing, actually taking things step by step. But one thing to say the fact is that if someone is a thief, it's a thief. There is nothing, you see, for example, a simple matter arises, someone just stole something that is not 10,000. You see the police dragging him, putting the person on media, showing the wall as if someone who has stolen the whole entire community happened. But it's not like that. A single man will rob the whole country and they will be keeping it as if, and he will be even dragging out that he hasn't done anything. And the government will be saying, oh, someone respectively, no. It's high time, if someone is a criminal, is a thief, is a thief. We are all human beings. Not because you have been a minister or whatsoever, then you are so special. There's nothing special about you. We are all human beings. If you go from the society to be judged, there will be no any unity as my brother there was saying. They should not take anybody kindly. That's the only way forward. But when you start keeping things like as if someone knows, there's no classes in it. A criminal is a criminal, a thief is a thief. That's what this government has to be. That's how they're supposed to judge people. Well, that's all right.
All right, Jimo, thank you very much for your contribution. Of course, Jimo does agree that there shouldn't be any preference at all given to anyone in this fight against corruption.
No, there shouldn't be, because this government came in on even the, as I said, the people that are opposed to the personality of Mr. President still agree that this is a decent man, integrity is discipline. You can entrust him with the Commonwealth. Now, you now get people that are criminals, and you're now bringing that, like someone was saying that in his speech, he said some people should be treated decently. In this fight, we're a developing country. I don't know how they do it in developed countries, but why we are here and still struggling is because of some people's selfishness. You know, so you know, it should be like going back to zero, and people like us will not stand back and find that you are cherry picking. That okay, we can touch this one. This one can be exposed,
and we cannot touch
this one. That's where there will be
that's
wahala.
you know, having
sacred cows. No, there will be serious problems. that's where there'll be serious problems. You cannot say this person is too big. So what you say that if I want to steal, I should aspire to a bigger office, like what is happening now, like what Jimo rightly said. You know, somebody stole goats, 6 months in prison. Somebody stole billions, is doing plea bargain. It's been left off of the hook by paying as little as 100,000. Somebody stole a police fund, a pension fund. Nothing has been happening to the people. You understand what I'm saying? And as Fela was rightly correct, and is still correct, that the pen robbers are the major robbers than the armed pushers. And what the pen robbers have been doing is what has turned is responsible for our arrested development, no employment for our children, the universities, the education is in shambles, and everything for an oil-rich nation. Look at the roads. The rails are there for everybody to see. Is it working? If the rails are working, if there is no pipeline vandalization, you see that very few trucks will be on the road.
All right, just a moment, please. Let's take Dabo now. Good morning to you. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah. Please, I think I want to contribute on the matter.
Yes, please go ahead, Tiabo.
All right. Please, I think the gentleman then is saying the right thing. And I think as Nigerians, we don't need soft hand. If you look at what happens even on the road, you understand? If there is a court martial from the Federal Road Safety Corps, you see that everybody is complying because immediately you are being caught, you are going to be prosecuted immediately and the fine is going to be assigned to you. But if the judgment is being delayed, you find people going about looking for ways to corner justice and do all sorts of things. You understand? So I don't think there is a difference between somebody who steals goods and somebody who steals Maggi. You will discover that a too much vengeance is being put on petty thieves, and when people steal billions, the media carries them and they kind of as if they've done something special. So I think there should not be preference for anybody as well. When you are corrupt, you are corrupt. Irrespective of whether you are a president, you are a former president, you are a gate man, you are a whatever. I think the same justice system should be applied to everybody. So my brother there is saying the right thing.
All right.
In as much as I agree that due process to be followed should be followed, I think preference should not be attached to anybody.
All right. Tiabo, thank you very much indeed for your contribution. Of course, Tiabo does agree there as well. There shouldn't be a selective justice, as it were. You are a thief, you are a thief, whether you stole 100 million or 100,000. And so now another important area that we also need to look at is the petroleum industry bill. This is a bill that has been on the floor of the National Assembly for close to 6 years or more.
A decade.
And I'm wondering, why are they running away from it, if I may, put it that way?
Well,
and this is a bill that was supposed to, regulate the industry and put things right.
Yeah, and that's why we've had some form of capital flight, some of anxiety for to invest in the system, because if you don't know the rules of the game, okay, you know that FIFA wants to change the game, they want to change the rules of the game, so you want to that rules must be before particular tournaments. Okay, this is the new rules of the game. So now people don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, sorry, please, may I interrupt? Let's take David so we don't lose him, but you will come back to respond to that. Good morning to you, David. Hello, David. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. Please go on.
Good morning. I want to contribute to the program.
Yes, please, go on.
Let's start with one now. What is the basis of that's number one. Before we are talking about corruption in this country, all of us see the way corruption has destroyed this country, which is left. And then by the grace of God now, the president, Wally is coming. By the grace of God, and things are into the place we are seeing racist, and I think we are doing sentimental in any case so far. So I think the issues are coming because the utterance of different village shows that it's not coming on the basis of the message of surveillance. They are coming to see the president basis on one president or the other level to check some people. I think they should allow the rule of the law to follow. I leave the president alone. Let him do the job. Let him do the job for us. Let him come and deliver us now. So that is just it. Please, let's just operate and leave these people. Because when the other government are there, these people, they see the way things are going. And they cannot come to mediate at that time. The questions are going without saying these parties are voted for change. Once now, they are coming, they are coming to decide they want to mediate. I really appreciate the young man that is standing behind the second divorce. They have been saying the truth. Whether the party, any president that has given X our money before, or the governors, even the minister, let them play them to book. I said there will be a big challenge for the other people to learn. And then the same corruption that will be bring to you. Thank you very much.
All right, David, thank you very much indeed. Your point is taken on board. Yeah, we're talking about the petroleum industry bill.
Yes, I said it, you know, there have been like a gang up against the bill, you know, because one of the issues that we had, we as Pengassin, you know, I was part of the group of Pengassin that worked on our own interpretation of what the bill should be, you know, and we took it to the National Assembly. But one of the issues one of the very strong issues that we were having was this, the fiscals. How much would be the take of government? How much would be the take of, you know, the IOCs and other investors? And when you look at the bill, you know, I was discussing with someone. I said, why can't we just, you know, take the aspect that everybody agrees with and start running with that one? Then we start working with this, or take the bill as it is, you know, and start working and making amendments, you know, as we go, you know, an argument. But that we don't have the bill is, you know, is really affecting us for this close, and it shows that there's a lot of strong influence that don't want the bill to see the light of the day. And you know, twice, as I said, I've heard the erstwhile Senate President David Mark saying that when we start, this bill will be the first thing we will do. That's how they did, and at the end of the day, nothing has come out of it. And
in the last in the last assembly, I think about 48 bills were passed in.
Apart from this bill,
a record bill,
apart from the
record number of bills.
Apart from the most important bill. So the thing is that, you know, when we looked at it, there are some part of the bill that, I mean, they are just, it's not tenable anywhere. You know, it gives the minister so much power. It's even it made the minister more powerful than the president. The minister was on everywhere like a spirit, you know. So those are the things that we looked at, and I said that no, we at this time around, we just pray that let us have because most of the laws in the oil and gas in Nigeria are obsolete. There are some things that some offenses that DPR will still have to charge you. You still have to pay maybe 5,000 to DPR. You know, so there's many of the laws are obsolete. So we need this bill once and for all. And it's not a bill that you should start again reworking. But I'm hearing that some lawmakers are saying that they want to go back and start, you know, reworking the bill.
Okay, just a moment, please. Let's take Okoroji. Good morning to you, Okoroji. Thanks for holding on.
I cannot hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you very much for holding on. Please go on. Hello, Okoroji. Can you hear us now?
Okay, good morning. I want to thank you for this program. Yes, I want to thank you for this program. Good morning, yes. First of all, I thank that gentleman there.
Thank you, sir.
I want to contribute for that corruption issue. The corruption issue. Then, you know one thing about Nigeria, about the corruption. The lawmakers of Nigeria don't want to say anything about how they will contribute to the fighting about corruption in Nigeria. And again, last time I traveled to Nigeria, the other area I saw corruption is from the motor park. they don't even know how to conduct people along the road of Nigeria. So you see, corruption is something that you people should try to, the government should try to know the formula to fight corruption. You understand? The government should know how the techniques that they use to fight corruption in Nigeria. When the president, the former president, the minister, everybody is corrupt. So they know how to fight corruption, and the lawmakers should try to make sure that they bring formula to fight that corruption. They are corrupt. They don't put law that will guide Nigerians so that the Nigerians will be free from corruption. That is what I can contribute now. God bless you all.
All right, Okoroji, all the way from Cameroon, thank you very much indeed for your contribution. Yes, we're talking about the petroleum industry.
Yes, so you cannot enter a game without knowing the rules, you know, and we all agree that the rules are obsolete. And the way it is now, you know, there's a time that one of the senators, the president of the Senate then, said that the IOCs cannot force Nigeria, you know, to do anything, you know, and you cannot, the game is such that we can't play it alone.
Absolutely.
You know, you need the presence of these IOCs. So when leaders don't appreciate the enormity of the problems we're having, Nigerian crude oil is not an exclusive thing to Nigerians now. You know, when you go to, what's it called, the GOG, the Gulf of Guinea, where we have Nigeria, you have Ghana, you have so many other countries having crude oil. You know, Angola.
Is it Angola?
Yeah, Angola is not in Gulf of Guinea, but Angola. You have so many countries. So it's no longer, you know, there's stiff competition now for buyers. So it's not like before that we can afford this. So now we need to, you know, put on our thinking cap, quickly do the rules of the game, agree with the people that we want to agree. It's a give and take thing. You know, it's your resource, but you have to sell it. You know, and you have people that are going to do the exploration for you. You know, so it must be a template in which, you know, it should be a win-win. You understand? It shouldn't be a win-win for the IOCs at the detriment of Nigerians. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the things that the law is needed once and for all. Let's put this into bed. What is so, you know, I don't know, what juju should I say that is in this law that has prevented it from
being passed?
Yeah, from being passed. So those are the issues that, you know, is something that the president, and I'm praying that this new National Assembly will not play politics with it. Because what we just noticed at the other time was just politics. You know, after all the open sessions, after all the debates, after all the submission of these consultants from here, at the end of the day, for almost a decade. You remember it started with OGIC, Obasanjo? Started it with, so started with,
yeah, sorry, please, just a moment. Let's take IK, my namesake. How are you? Good morning. Hello, IK. Morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I want to thank you for what you are doing. I think you were proper. The problem of corruption in Nigeria is such that it became worse. You have like clinics in the church everywhere. So imagine somebody like the bishop. Let's say that the bishop who is holding around those corrupt. When those people want to power, people are against it because probably it was not able to do corruption. Even if it is elected. So people are telling me that it was not able to do much. Their one before was that they had to the same book to now around him, the kind of thing right long worship for the and another time Kuka himself was saying that the problem as you want to change, if you want to change some certain changes, the more you change, the more things remain the same. Now it's not coming again. So please, what is this trying to put on the president? Who is the most corrupt? Because the cost cost on the face of the justice. After we are not just saying them from what I know. Now you are going to get that the particular person is, you know, different is that and that, and that is your job to do. It's your job. Let the people who are interested with that kind of job decide who is innocent and who is not. And you don't say that somebody is not. I say somebody is going to expand
than what? Somebody who
I'm sorry about that. We couldn't really make out, what IK was saying, but I thought I heard him, say something about the Peace Committee visit to, President Muhammadu Buhari. Yeah, you were making reference to Obasanjo.
Yes, the wilderness walk of the bill started with Obasanjo's OGIC group, then metamorphosed into PIB, when President Jonathan or Yar'Adua, exit time of Yar'Adua. So it's been long awaited. I mean, let us do this thing once and for all. Let's all have a bill that will make our industry more competitive, and that will safeguard the jobs, that will expand the coast, that will make the agents that are playing, more efficient, because it talks of breaking down this Among Us NNPC group that we have, to directorate and upstream, downstream. There's so many things in that bill that are loaded. So it's not something that we need another 4 years to go. I don't know what is happening, behind the veil. I don't know what is happening behind the curtain. That this bill has not something. It's a shame that the most important sector of today does not have a bill that does not have the rule of games here to regulate that sector. So it's a national embarrassment, and I hope that the National Assembly will see it as such, and that the executive arm will cooperate with them to make sure that this bill sees the light of day. Yeah.
All right, as the current administration led by Muhammadu Buhari tries to restructure the NNPC and rid it of corruption, and then other agencies as well, the cooperation of the anti-corruption agencies, I mean, it's needed.
Yeah, the anti-corruption agencies in a country like this are like the alter ego of the president. Just take this, the EFCC of the last administration that was chasing petty thieves, 419ers, is now the EFCC that is really going ahead, high-profile people. Not only former ministers, but
governors as well.
And so many people that they are going on, and they can now back and bite.
But there are some concerns at the moment that it's not just about backing. For instance, we heard so many cases of probes, the MENA, what's it called? Pension and a scam, the power probe, remember Lawan Otedola, Gay, and all of that. There are some concerns that sometimes they chase these cases, like people, chasing after rats, when you find a rat, you chase around, and then in the end, it amounts to nothing.
Well, the thing is that theirs is to investigate, and theirs is to bring those evidence against the suspects. Then the judiciary, the courts have a role to play. At times they allow so much liberty, almost going to laxity that for years, if you have a good lawyer, if you have good money, you get about 2 cents. They stay there. They make sure that it's always getting adjournment. There should be a mechanism to fast track issues on corruption, solely on corruption. Maybe we say that corruption above 2 million. This is where you go. So, and we know that you are going to give in this based on this time to make sure a short time frame. I mean, when you say high-profile corrupt practices abroad, it's short time. You see it in television. Before you know it, under 3 minutes, you're either in or out. So that's what we expect. And you remember, there was a time about 2 years ago that the EFCC chairman actually cried out that they were underfunded, that they didn't have money. So how do you expect an underfunded agency as of then to do their jobs? That means logistics to go and do investigation is not there. The first thing you'll be fighting for as the chief executive of an agency like that is how to pay salaries. So that it will be like the police case that they could not pay salaries and police started going on strike. So it's the body language is unfortunate that this is in a developing country. That's what you have, that everything has to do with the body language of the man there, because he has the power to fire and hire. We should have institutions that, irrespective of who is there, they do their job. In America,
and that's what President Obama said the last time that he came to Africa here, when he said African countries should build strong institutions and not strong individuals.
No, I agree with him. It's about individuals' lifespan is very short. In power, in life, actually, it's short. You know, but when you have what's it called, strong institutions, that leaves you. And make sure, you know what there's a Yoruba proverb that said that a town or a country that is at peace, there's no corruption, you know, you don't need laws. But it's because of corruption, it's because of this, that's why you need laws, that's why you need strong institutions. We should make sure that we should have institutions like the judiciary. You know, all the things that we are, you know, we've seen judges that have been indicted, that have been embarrassed out of office. I mean, if where should be the last hope of man, as we say, having issues, how can we go to sleep? You know, we haven't talked, even in the media. You know, there's so many things that happen in the media, you know, and the media is a gatekeeper. You are the ones that enlighten, educate, you know, entertain the people. You've seen that there's been virus in some of the media, you know, output. You know, so it's not a matter of just, it's an holistic thing that we should bring strong institutions. Right. The unions should be alive to their responsibility. You know, everybody should be alive to their responsibility.
All right. Good morning to you, Sonny. Hello, Sonny.
Hello.
Good morning. Thank you for holding on.
Hello, how are you?
Very well. Thank you. Please go on.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Good morning. How are you? Yeah, in fact, I am enjoying your discussion.
Thanks.
The gentleman there is hitting the nail where it is supposed to hit. Yeah, in fact, the last national assembly, from every point of view, you know, in the democratic setup where the one arm of government is supposed to have a check on another, it was not what was applicable. But virtually each of the arm was doing what it still is doing. The president of the Senate, I should even be ashamed of himself for taking the present Senate. In fact, so for things to have gone back and the deal you people are talking about, and now they are trying to hasten it, shouldn't have been so. This is what they are supposed to have done long before now. Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Sonny. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello?
Oh, Sonny. All right, Sonny. Unfortunately, we could you know, hear what you were saying anyway. Well, I'm gonna ask you know, this. Do you think that the president, because you know, sometime last week, of course, we understand the meeting took place last Thursday, where President you know, Goodluck Jonathan had a secret meeting with President Buhari, and no journalists, you know, were allowed, no photographers were allowed into the meeting. So what they discussed is still within the confines of, you know, the presidency. Now, do you think that the president, and thereafter we also heard that Obasanjo went to visit?
Before?
Yes.
Obasanjo went before.
Yes. Do you think, now after that, there were insinuations that apparently they were there, you know, to, you know, tell the president to, you know, some sort of, you know, calm down on the way he's, you know, going about the fight. That's, you know, a matter for another day, an insinuation anyway. Do you think that the president will allow himself to, is the one that will allow himself to be influenced if, for instance, the ox of someone, a highly placed individual, is gored?
Well, I can, you know, we're speculating, you know. But one thing is that I think for once, we have a president that all of us can go to sleep, that will take the right decisions. You know, if being given the right information, he will take the right. I mean, at 70 something, you know, what you should be thinking of is leaving a legacy for his children, because he'll be exiting, his children will still be here. So I don't think he's somebody that we know that will shy away. You can even look at his lifestyle. He's not somebody that you can corrupt. So if you have somebody that you cannot corrupt, that is not bothered about all the, you know, the luxuries of life, you know, he lives a pious life, you know, with his farm. They gave him, when they were paying him his, you know, his constitutional money rights, the man said it was too much. You know, so he's not somebody that we know him. We know him. He's not somebody that anybody can, you know, that you can influence negatively, right, or to pitch him against the interests of the state or the people. So with that one, I'm not really bothered, actually. All
right, Comrade Gambo, we are completely out of time, but I want your last words on, you know, the restructuring of NNPC, the way forward, you know, and all of that.
Yes, what I want to say is that something I've started, and I expect that the people piloting the affairs now, we know that there's a lot of grounds to cover. You know, like Nigeria has lost a lot of grounds, and that all eyes are on them. You know, we don't want to start hearing this is like a rebranding process, a new lease of life, you know, that is being given to people holding positions in the NNPC. And I also want to say is that, look, it's not the institution or everybody in NNPC. It's just a cabal, as the former minister said, or a few people that, you know, are out of tune with the aspirations of the country. So we have to also be very careful in, you know, labeling, because there are a lot of decent people there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Comrade Sheyi Gambo, former National Public Relations Officer, Pengerson, also convener, Good Governance Group. Thank you very much indeed for coming to share your thoughts with us.
It's a pleasure.
Right.
Thank you, viewers.
All right, we'll take a break at the moment and we'll be back with sports and a review of the front pages of the national dailies. Stay with us.